its intensive care plans, it's got COVID testing kits and stuff. Why do we have to wait, he's asking.
Why is a travel bubble so important for the Cook Islands?
Well, it's been devastated economically. So for the Cook Islands specifically, 80% of the revenue there comes from tourism and 75% of those visitors are from New Zealand. We're about to enter what would be the peak visitor season for the Cook Islands. So there is a wage subsidy scheme there, so job losses haven't been huge yet, but that's limited and government debt is going to skyrocket, so it can only last so long. I mean, Mr. Melvin compared it to the 1996 economic crisis where the government nearly went bankrupt, and from that thousands of Cook Islanders upped and moved to New Zealand as they can as New Zealand citizens, but the population trends only recently reversed and so that those gains might be undone, he's suggesting. And this is a pattern we're seeing across the Pacific, and like Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, Niue, same story there. But the Cook Islands, their argument is we're part of the realm.
What about other Pacific countries? Are anyone else calling for quarantine travel with New Zealand?
Yeah, well, just a couple of hours ago, Niue, another part of the realm of New Zealand, elected a new premier, Dalton Tangilangi. He's also called for a bubble. And so, yeah, they're New Zealand citizens as well, and the new premier is keen for it. And Vanuatu and Fiji have also said they want to be part of a bubble, but they're a bit more difficult. Fiji's a bit of a hub, and they've had COVID, and Vanuatu, of course, has a very fragile health system, and, of course, they're still dealing with the aftermath of that devastating cyclone only 2 months ago.
What about others? Are there Pacific countries that are a bit more cautious about opening their borders?
Yeah, so Samoa has said it's keen for a bubble, but it's also, they've had the measles last year, so they're not as actively campaigning as, say, the Cook Islands, Niue and Fiji for this. So they're a bit more tentative in their approach. And the difficulty is New Caledonia, French Polynesia, they're the French territory, so you've got the whole, dealing with France factor. So they're talking about French Polynesia, Tahiti, for example, is talking about possibly September for New Zealand, but they've had it just this past couple of weeks in New Caledonia. A new contingent of French public servants and police officers arrived from Paris, and 2 of them have COVID. So that's going to be difficult for a Pacific travel bubble.
Indeed. Thank you so much for your time. That's Jamie Tahana from RNZ Pacific. A Māori artist is backing calls for the country to review its colonial monuments, but doesn't necessarily believe they should be removed from our streets. In the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests in the US, monuments of controversial figures, including slave trader Edward Colston, have been torn down. The Māori Party has since called for an inquiry into monuments here and the removal of those that symbolise racism and oppression. Artist Nick Tupara is a spokesperson for Gisborne Iwi Ngāti Oneone and agrees it's time to open up the conversation about Aotearoa's colonial past.
I think we should review it, absolutely. I think we should be aware, and we should have knowledge that these things are there and actually what they mean. And I imagine most New Zealanders walk past these things every day and don't give two hoots about them, or certainly don't understand what they represent or the connotations behind them. So I think absolutely we should be aware, and then as communities we can then make collective decisions about where we want to be as communities.
Do you personally agree that some should be taken down if they have symbolism or connotations to racism or oppression?
There are monuments that I would definitely take down. A Captain Cook statue that we had on one of our ancestor mountains here in Gisborne, and we took it down last year. We had it physically removed, and that came with some objection, obviously, and in the end we had it physically removed and we altered its context. And now it sits with other Cook memorabilia, for want of a better term, in our museum, and will be presented in a context that's more appropriate to our community today.
Figures like Captain James Cook, it's obviously been a controversial topic for your community for many years now. Is there value in monuments depicting people like Captain Cook in New Zealand?
Well, I think it's been done to death. If we can clear the space and clear our minds, then we can ensure that our balance is fair. And I don't want things getting taken down because we need to bring a balance, but we need to grow those other parts of our history and our story to ensure that at least they have a place alongside some of the way that we've told our history already.
What Māori figures would you like to see become monuments?
Last year we unveiled a statue to Te Maro, who was the first ancestor shot by Cook. And we unveiled him not because he was shot by Cook, but because he was a great leader and contributor to his people during his life. And we celebrated him not in the context of Cook, but in his own context. Without destroying the James Cook memorial that sits centre of that space, but being able to add context around that space to expand our understanding of our entire history for all of our community.
Gisborne artist Nick Tupara. It's 20 minutes past 12 on Midday Report. Emma Hatton is with us now to update us on the latest business news. And Emma, Air New Zealand's being quiet about whether it's seeking a cash injection.
Kia ora, Tianiwa. A capital raising by Air New Zealand before the end of the year so it does not have to use a government loan is on the cards, according to an investment analyst. The airline has made a non-committal statement in response to speculation in the Australian Financial Review that it's hired advisors to look at options for injecting cash, including a possible share issue. Greg Smith of the investment firm Fat Profits says the $900 million government loan, which hasn't been drawn upon yet, was for when the company had no other options.
It was really about getting the airline through to the other side, as it were, of COVID. At the time, the company was probably not in a position to really go to shareholders where it is now. So it certainly I think it has a lot more flexibility and a lot more options now. Given the terms of that original loan from the government, which obviously they're saying they haven't had to tap into as yet.
Arohai ngā teina me ngā tuakana e wehe ana ki te atua. Mai te uru tā karauna tatu atu ki te rangatira nei a George Floyd. Nō reira, a moi mai rā, a oke mai rā. Haere ki te pū tahitanga nui o rei hua, ki te pautu tanga nui o pīpiri. A moi mai rā, oke mai rā. Whakatau mai rā, whakatau mai rā, whakatau mai rā. Whakatau mai rā, e ngā iwi whakatau mai rā, e ngā mana whakatau mai rā, e ngā reo. Whakatau mai rā, ngā waka o runga o te mutu, a tauranga ai. He tū atu tēnei, a ti aki tau wai oho e mihi atu nei, e mihi atu nei ki o koutou, e ngā minita i te Premier e Jacinta. A hara e tau tū, e te tū takitahi, e te tū takitini ke aha kō, an kāre e kitia, kāre anō e whakarongohia. Nō reira waiho ene i runga ene kōrero ngā waka ngā reo. Ngā hapu kāranga tanga rangatira i wanga nui a tātou, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou.
Whakataurangi a ke
Te here, i tāku a te, pupua ke nei, te mauri o te aroha. E hononga ki te iwi kua whakangaro, ki te pō uri uri, ki te pō e o te atu. E ngā whakaoati herea, i te rangi, hei uanahi atu, ti hei mauri o rai. Anō reira, apiti ono o tātou hono te honga mate ki te honga mate, apiti ono o tātou hono te honga ora ki te honga ora. Rātau kia rātau, tātou kia tātou, e hui tahi nei, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā koutou, a tēnā tātou katoa. Hui no rā kia ora tātou. Hei piti atu i ngā mihi ko mihi ai tō tātou pāpa tēnei kā mihi. E tu primea nau mai ki roto ki tō whare, nau mai ki roto ki tō tātou whare. Whare hauora, whare oranga, e hanga ia mai ai ngā tūpuna kua menea ki te pō. Ia rātou tēnei kā mihi ake. Kā mihi ake rā kia tātou katoa i tēnei rā. Ko tāku noa, he mihi ki te primea, he karanga ki te primea ke haere mai, ki te kauwhau i etahi kōrero, ki te kōrero mo te āhuatanga, mo tēnei o ngā whare o tirā, mo te whare hauora o Tāmaki ki raro. Nō reira i te primea, ka ia koe te wā, nō reira kia ora mai tātou.
Te whara e tu nei te marae e tā koto ana, tēnā koroa, e ne mātei maha, haere, haere, haere. Nā tangata whenua o tēnei rohi, tēnā koutou. Tātou nā kānohi e hui mai ana, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora, and thank you so much for all joining us today, and for those of you who are on our tour with us, can I say thank you for sharing with us your spaces, the places that you work day in, day out, sharing your expertise and your care with those from your community. I'll start with some brief acknowledgements. Obviously, I'm here today with Dr. David Clark, Minister of Health. In case we're in the environment where that may be confused for a medical doctor, he is not. I always feel like it's important to clarify that at critical moments. Also my parliamentary colleagues, I see Anna Healer and Prankarati Krishna, Minister Jenny Salisa, who is an Associate Minister of Health, and also Ōpiro, Minister Seo, who will be well known to you as well. It's a pleasure to also be here with a past colleague, DHB Chair Mark Goshi, board members, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pete Watson, and the clinical leaders and staff. I know there's a tendency with these things to really drag out the purpose for which we are here. You're busy professionals, so I'm not going to do that to you today. And also, I think the need for investment here really speaks for itself. And so I am pleased to be here today alongside my colleagues to announce new capital funding for Counties Manukau DHB, and that includes significant investment here at Manukau Health Park. The government is providing $211.4 million in funding to address growing demand and improve facilities at Manukau Health Park. This includes $160 million from Budget 2019, on top of the 51.4 that was set aside in Budget 2018. I don't need to tell you that this is much needed investment, and I don't need to tell you that it will make a difference to patients, whānau and staff. It will improve facilities, it will expand capacity, and it will ensure South Aucklanders can continue to access a high quality of care and the very best of care. I hugely appreciate the hard work that you do every day to support your local community. And I know working in our health system can be challenging, it can be fast-paced, as we've obviously seen with COVID-19. New Zealand's response, because of the work of everybody in every part of the system, is something I feel very proud of. And it is down to our health system's effort also. But I'd also like to acknowledge the many layers of tragedy that you often encounter daily, and the unique tragedy that you recently encountered that was Whakaari White Island. Our health system did an incredible job providing world-class care to the survivor. In the Leeds Burn Centre, I know the staff at Counties Manukau played a key role. I saw it for myself on a visit not long before Christmas. The amount of energy and effort, the fact that staff came back from sabbaticals and leave and gave everything to supporting those who needed it most at the most critical time. And what a testament to your work that they, last of those patients have been discharged and on their path to recovery. So a personal thank you from me to all of you who were involved. These events remind us of how important it is to have a strong healthcare system, increasing access to high quality health services and ensuring equitable health outcomes for all New Zealanders. They are our key priorities. We want every New Zealander to be able to enjoy better health and well-being, and improving our public hospitals and health facilities is a very important part of that. We've been committed to tackling that issue. We've invested a record $3.5 billion into health infrastructure so far. Budget 2020 provides $750 million on top of the $2.45 billion in our two previous budgets. There's also $300 million for health capital in the New Zealand Upgrade program as well. All of this investment by the government, though, reflects the scale of the challenges we're addressing, as well as the importance that we place on health and well-being. But coming back to here, specifically this place today, over 560,000 people live in Counties Manukau, many with high health needs. It's crucial that South Aucklanders can access the care they need and deserve in fit-for-purpose facilities that support better health and well-being. That's what people should expect of us. And to date, I know I don't again need to tell you this, we haven't always done the best we can in making sure we overcome those health inequalities. The hard-working, dedicated staff here, you deserve fit-for-purpose modern facilities to deliver the care that you wish to provide your communities, and we need to do better in supporting you in that work. The $211.4 million investment we're announcing will help to improve services and increase capacity here. It includes, as I said, $160 million in funding from the budget of 2019. And through this project, we'll deliver increased theatre and outpatient capacity, around 4 new theatres and 20 recovery beds, a new centralised sterile services unit, which I passed on the way through. Not usually sure what size they are, but I'm sure you could do with a little more room than you have. And over 40 new clinical outpatient spaces. A new radiology hub. Patients are currently sent to Middlemore for CT and MRI scans. The new hub will include 4 ultrasound suites, 2 CT scanners and 1 MRI scanner. A fully integrated breast screening service and an expanded renal dialysis hub. New plant rooms, substations, IT, medical gases, and it's not sexy, but parking to support. It's all important for the services that we provide, and will deliver more equitable outcome for South Aucklanders. I know this investment will make a big difference to patients, their whānau as well as staff, but I also acknowledge that while we're making good progress rebuilding and strengthening our hospitals and health services, we are the first to acknowledge that there is more to do. It's a long-term program of work, which we remain absolutely committed to tackling. In the meantime, though, can I thank you for having us here today. It has been a pleasure to have the opportunity to come and make this significant announcement. And as I always do when I visit those who work in our health system, I finished with my thanks for the services that you provide and the commitment to your field of work. I'm now going to pass over to our Minister of Health. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
E ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā karanga maha o te wā. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Ki ngā mana whenua, anu nei aku mihi kia koutou. Ko te perimea, tēnā koe. He mihi mahana kia koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Nōku tuhana rei kia haere mai ki te whakanuia tēnei huihui ngā whakahirahira. Ko te kaupapa rangatira, e tauhere ana i a tātou katoa, ko te whakapiki i te oranga o ngā tangata katoa a Aotearoa. E hara, i te mahi māma, engare, mehe mea, ka mahi tahi tātou, ka taia e tātou. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Tā lauwhalawa, malo lelei, whakalauwhalahi atu, kia orana, namaste, Buddha. Warm Pacific greetings to you all. Thank you, Prime Minister, and can I say on behalf of our colleagues who are gathered here, what a pleasure it always is to attend these occasions with you. We are, as a country, very grateful for your leadership, and through the COVID period in particular. I cannot tell you, I have lost count on my way through this building today, how many people have expressed their thanks for your leadership, and I just think that we haven't really said that much publicly, and I think we should. Yeah. I also want to today acknowledge all the colleagues who've come today as well to support this announcement, Anahila, Priyanka, and also fellow ministers Jenny and William. It is good to have you here to celebrate this good news that we are bringing of significant and important funding, $211.4 million in funding for Manukau Health Park. I know it will make a very big difference. Your chair reminds me of the pressing importance of these investments here. You do some amazing work with some of our most vulnerable populations, and you do that in facilities, many of which have been here a while, and you continue to provide the highest quality care. And I want to salute clinicians and staff who work in this facility day in, day out, caring for the people that you know need and deserve high quality healthcare, and you make sure they get it. And as the Prime Minister has said, this is much needed investment. We do know that there are long-standing problems with the facilities and key infrastructure at Counties Manukau DHB, and this investment at Manukau Health Park is part of an ongoing program, given the large amount of work that is needed to upgrade and remediate facilities here in the Counties Manukau DHB. The expansion at Manukau Health Park was identified by the DHB as a priority investment several years ago, and I know that the continued growth in demand for services will mean that it will be needed more than ever in future. Over the last couple of years, approximately 850,000 appointments for outpatient care were logged at Counties Manukau, to give you a sense of the scale. Those of you who work here know that. You know how busy the place is. That number, though, is forecast to grow by 25% in the next 10 years. It will get busier still. Counties Manukau, of course, has more people with long-term health conditions, surpassing its population growth rates and putting more pressure on services. Expanding the renal dialysis service will make a significant difference. Despite a number of improvements by the DHB, including a fourfold increase in transplantation rates and an increase in in-home dialysis, demand for renal services continues to grow steadily. Demand for breast screening services is also increasing and exceeding current capacity. And while the DHB has added extra breast screening clinics, this funding will enable the DHB to fully integrate and expand the service. And it was great to have a chance to have a tour around the facilities and see how the integrated services work here today. These are priority areas for capital investment and will help to deliver more equitable health outcomes for South Aucklanders, particularly in breast cancer and renal care. Of the $80 million in funding from Budget 2018 for capital projects here at Counties Manukau, around $50 million is being invested at Manukau Health Park. We've also added further projects funded by $160 million from Budget 2019. Now, by putting everything into one program, this will ensure that the works are aligned and disruption of services, patients and staff is minimised. The investment will not only increase capacity here at the Manukau site, it will also free up capacity at the pressured Middlemore Hospital site and free up space for more acute services there. The government has now approved the first stage of the process, the indicative business case, and I'm told that the detailed business case, which will confirm the scope and funding, is expected to be completed by the end of this year. Following the design phase, I'm advised that construction could start later next year. I'd also like to touch on the other capital programs here at Counties Manukau DHB that the government is funding. There's $35 million for recladding at Manukau Elective Surgical Hospital at Manukau Health Park and the Mackendau building at Middlemore Hospital. There's $20 million for core infrastructure works at Middlemore Hospital. And I understand that the recladding at Scott is making good progress in the Scott building, with stage 1 and 2 now complete. And with validation of the recladding work, the DHB is in the final stages of developing the business case for recladding Kids First, Manukau Elective Surgical Hospital, and the Mackendau building as well. The business case for relocating radiology at Middlemore has been approved, Radiology will move from the earthquake-prone Galbraith building to the Harley Gray building in mid-2023. And finally, as part of the first tranche of health projects from the New Zealand Upgrade Programme, $5 million has also been earmarked to refurbish the Kids First neonatal clinic and increase capacity. I do look forward to my next visit to see how these projects are progressing. Improving our hospitals and health facilities is an important part of ensuring people get the high quality care they need to get well and to stay well. It is the reason that we've invested in our first three budgets $3.5 billion after a long lag in investment. I think the prior government invested around $1.1 billion. So you get the sense of the scale of our ambition. We've already in one term of government invested more than 3 times that. We really want to see our public health infrastructure upgraded so that all New Zealanders can get the health care that they need and deserve. Nō reira. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Kia ora, talawhalawa, and I just ticked off all of the things that I was going to say in my speech that the Prime Minister and the Minister have beaten me to it, so I'm not going to be silly and repeat it all, but there's just a few points I'd like to add. Firstly, I'd want to acknowledge and welcome Prime Minister and the Minister of Health, Associate Minister of Health, good friends Jenny and Opito, and in the front row, Anahela and Priyanka. It's lovely to be on my second outing after being severely locked down for 2.5 months to protect my much-loved wife. I've been out and hongied and hugged and kissed and shook hands on Tuesday, and repeating the exercise today is rather nerve-wracking. I know Pito and I in our advanced age, we're going to take a little bit of time to get used to this. We're still nervous and anxious. But I've got my bottle of stuff in the thing for washing my hands just in case. I want to welcome our board members who've come out today. Tipa, our Deputy Chair, who's come up from the Waikato, Diane and Colleen, and I'm not sure whether Gary's hiding somewhere, but welcome to them. And all of our staff who've been part of the tour so far. Apologies from Margie Upper. Margie's been chairing the CEOs group nationally, and they've got some pretty important business with Ashley Bloomfield today, so she sends her apologies, and thank you, Pete Watson, our CMO, for standing in, and John for doing the tour with us this morning. I wanted to stress a couple of things. Middlemore Hospital today is at over 90% capacity. Most other hospitals, when they get to 85, start to feel under pressure. And sadly for us, 90% to 100% through winter is sort of business as usual. And this investment, as has been stated, is going to relieve a great deal of that pressure. So I understand that just the ophthalmology alone could free up 30 beds for acute care at Middlemore when we get ophthalmology operating here under this investment. So it gives you the feel for the pressure we have with our population growth and the demographic nature of our population, with well over a couple of 100,000 people, many of them very young, who live in those high deprivation index parts of our community. So you couldn't get money better spent with the stuff that we're going to try and squeeze out of this. And it is well over $250 million if you add up the 211 and the 35 for the recladding and the 20 million that the Minister also mentioned. And out of that 14 billion we heard about yesterday, it's a pretty good chunk coming our way, but we've got some more business cases that we'll be working on, because there's an opportunity to do a great deal more on the site. We've got some pretty antiquated properties elsewhere that deal with spinal and rehab, and our plans are to make this a health park that has got many, many services, and to decongest Middlemore, which is overcrowded and working at capacity so much of the time. And that affects the ability for our community to access healthcare the same as they would in other parts of the Auckland region and New Zealand. So the pressure we find for our clinicians is those thresholds keep shifting up, whereas if you're on the other side of the Tamaki River or the Manukau Harbour, you might get in to see the clinicians earlier than you would here. So again, that's an amazingly good result that we'll see when this money is invested and we see the new facilities. And we are going to be doing hopefully better than by the end of the year to get that business case through. I'm looking at Parekawhia. And yeah. So the last thing I wanted to do is just acknowledge our staff, as the Prime Minister have done, but also to thank you, because it's probably the first chance we've had for somebody in the health sector to say a big thank you. Through that lockdown period, most of the 7,500 people who work for Counties Manukau came to work. In places like this up and down the country, they were working. Whilst many other people were safely in their bubbles at home, people came out. And I think the decision making that the government made was greatly appreciated by the front line of healthcare, because you put the safety of them and the people that they care for first. And yes, there's a lot of economic pain, and we gritted our teeth and bit our tongues as we turned the TV on every night and heard the latest expert saying that we shouldn't be going so hard and we shouldn't be doing this and we shouldn't be doing that. And I have to say, looking at Colleen, who's another carer in the community like I am, the disability community, the people who look after vulnerable people in the community who came out to work, the 3 or 4 caregivers who come to my house every day came out to work. And I think we all gritted our teeth as others criticised the decision making. But I tell you what, I didn't see one frontline person on the television moaning about it. So thank you. A big thank you for us as people in the healthcare system. A big thank you for us as people who care for those in the community. You put our safety first, and I think that's what we expect of a government, and we just want to say a big thank you on behalf of all of us at Counties Manukau Health, but the whole New Zealand population, for listening to the expert advice, taking it on board, balancing it against all the other pressures that you had upon you, and still coming down, in my opinion, in absolutely the right place. So we're here today, able to kiss and cuddle and hongi and do things, even if we are uncomfortable with it, and welcoming you. So I'm getting the wind-up call over here to say, shut up, and we're going to ask everybody who is going to have a cup of tea just to leave us for a few moments, so the Prime Minister and the Minister can spend some time with the media, and then we'll be able to come and join you after that. So, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.